Recording. Perfect. Okay, recording in progress. Hi, guys. Welcome back to Cupcakes and Protein Shakes. I am your host, Savannah Sharp, and we're getting started on a new episode. This episode is going to dive into how to get started in bodybuilding. This is one of my most popular FAQ questions when I have new clients, when it's on TikTok, when it's on Instagram. So before you guys do anything, make sure one, you're subscribed to the show. It's available on Spotify, on YouTube. It's everywhere. Anywhere that you can listen to a podcast, that is where you can find cupcakes and protein shakes. If you are a new competitor and you've been on stage at least one bikini competition, bikini wellness figure, it doesn't matter which division, which federation, I would love to have you guys on the show. Send me a DM and I would love to have you here. And if you guys want certain guests, please on Instagram or TikTok, reach out to me. What guests do you want to hear from? Because I like to interview other amateur competitors, other pro athletes about that mindset piece, like what makes them tick. I have a lot to catch you guys up on. This is the first episode of 2025, even though it's in February. I apologize. So many things have been happening. I've been very busy. And where have I been? Like the beginning of the year for me was kind of crazy. So I was traveling all over. I turned Miss Bikini USA in December, which was insane. It was so cool to win a pro show for my first time in December. Super unexpected. Went into that prep with no expectations. Like it was a last minute thing to jump into the show. I reversed out of world super well. And then I jumped into that prep, which was, I just don't normally do that. I had no plans or intentions of doing it, but we ended up winning. We ended up getting first and it was a crazy situation. So that's kind of where I have been. I'm in an off season. So as a professional bikini athlete, I will go and I'm gonna like be in an off season. So that means I'm not actively dieting. I'm not doing a ton of cardio. I'm really trying to work to get no cardio. That way I can focus on my muscles that I need to grow. I need to grow my glutes. I need to grow my legs. And I'm going to come back with a different suit. I'm super excited for it. I've already designed it. I've already designed the gown. So I kind of compete in a federation called WBFF. It's more of a pageantry bodybuilding federation. And I'm super excited. So that's going to be in August for me. So you guys will get to follow along every single week on my prep updates. So that is what is coming. And what is next for me is just building season. I recently opened my coaching business in April of last year. So if you guys are interested in starting with bodybuilding, that's what this episode is about. Please let me know. Drop comments that you guys have. So how to get started in bodybuilding. I'm going to kind of go over how I did it and how I suggest that other any women, men that are interested in bodybuilding get started in it. Okay. So, first off, educate yourself. Like, how do we get started? No matter what, if you want to do bodybuilding show, you need muscle. Doesn't matter which division, which federation, where you go, does not matter. You need to have muscle. So, if you want to get started, go to the gym. And that's it really starts there. Start with the habits that bodybuilders have. As an athlete, as a bodybuilder, if you're not going to the gym, I would say 5 to 6 days a week, then we want to get there slowly. So if you're at 0 days, maybe we go 3 days, maybe we go 4 days, maybe we go 5 days, but a traditional bodybuilder is going to be in the gym almost every single day, at least 1 to 2 rest days a week. Women, we're going to be training glutes 3 days a week. That's right, 3 days a week. If you are, it depends on how much muscle that you have and what you want to look like. But if you're going bikini wellness, figure fitness, it does not matter. You need good glutes, you need good glute development. And that's going to come from lower body training sessions and 3 times a week, like 2 times a week, unless you're someone that's just like pounding out the gym and you're just training super heavy and hard. Most likely, you probably are going to need 3 sessions. I've been doing 3 sessions since 2016. I started bodybuilding in 2017, but I started getting interested in it in 2016. But I always thought, oh, I'm super shy. Like, that's not for me. So funny because it was for me. And I finally got the courage to do it. It was more of a personal journey for me. But here, I'm gonna, yeah, like It was a personal journey for me when I did it. But when I started with a Facebook post. I started and I asked, hey, I'm thinking about getting into, I want to do a bikini prep, bikini show. I have no idea what the post said. But then I just, does anyone know any trainers that can help me do this? I put it on Facebook. I had a bunch of people, chatter, oh, I know a person, I know a person, I know a trainer. And I really wanted someone local that could see me in person, that could help train, help pose, because I had no idea what I was doing. So one of my mom's friend happened to have done a bikini show. She was my neighbor. She literally lived across the street. She did a bikini prep at like 40, 45. She looked insane. I was like, oh my gosh, she is goals. She had abs. She was shredded. She looked awesome in this bikini. So that was the first person that I knew personally who had done a bikini show. And I knew nothing. I knew none of the acronyms. I literally knew nothing at all. So I was like, okay, if she can do it, then I can do it. So I reached out to her, found out who her trainer was, figured out that it was at my local gym. I literally knew nothing. I just signed up. I paid like $1,500. I just signed all my life away. I signed a contract. I signed a gym. I paid for all my personal training sessions up front. I just paid for the whole prep. I paid for everything. And I was like, you know what? I am committed. I don't care what it takes. I want to do this. So I just made that investment and put it away and was like, whatever, YOLO, I cannot go back now. It's too late to chicken out. We're signing up for it. We're doing the dang thing. I'm a little bit of a unique situation because I don't really recommend just going straight into prep. If you go straight into bikini prep, um, it's not really how you do it now. Now, a lot of times you will like build for like 1 to 2 years, like 6 months, 1 to 2 years. You build a good physique, you build a good foundation of muscle, and then you shred and then you cut for your prep. That's usually what people do now because bodybuilding has grown and the amount of muscle required is a lot more. But there's new federations that are popping up all the time that don't require as much muscle. But most of the time, if you're a new lifter, like a lot of times, like prep isn't something that you just do for weight loss. I was relatively lean. I was an athlete. I was familiar with training. So I did it that way. Going back, I wish I would have signed up and then maybe I would have trained for about a year in a bikini style before I would get on stage. However, I did win my first show. So it doesn't really matter and I can't change it and I wouldn't change it. But if I were you, I would definitely build for 6 months to a year, get consistent in the gym, going 5 to 6 days a week, 3 days or lower, 2 to 3 days of upper body, and stop training biceps and triceps. If you're a lady, if you're a woman and you're doing bikini, we got to stop training biceps and triceps. You really got to fill out your shoulders. It's a very specific look. So when we're doing bodybuilding, we have to realize that it's not for strength, that it's for aesthetics only. What that means is we want to look pretty, but we don't need to like it doesn't do anything. Like, yes, we want to get strong, but we're specifically training for aesthetics only to look a certain way on stage. I didn't really know that. So like I kind of like I knew it, but I didn't know. I was like, oh, I just need to like get strong and I just need to lift like I thought I had to lift like a power lifter, but then I figured out like what a bikini split actually looked like and I was like, oh, okay, I think I can do this. It's like not that bad. It's like not that hard. It was hard, but not that bad. Okay, so when you're getting started, what I did is I signed up for a coach right away. Again, you can do that if you find a coach that can I don't know if you find a coach that can just like do everything for you, that's the best way. If you find I'm a coach, you just sign up with me. I'll literally pick your show, pick your suit, pick everything. You don't have to worry about anything. You just like sign up with me. We'll figure it out along the way. You can do that, or you can kind of do it yourself and then wait. And I mean, you could prep yourself if you wanted to, but most of the time, having some type of coach is the way. Like you can teach yourself posing, like you can do it all by yourself, but you're going to get there a lot faster if you have someone to guide you through it. So first off, I found a coach. That was like step number one was to research to find a coach. And I just picked a show. We picked a show locally, which I do suggest going local. I picked a show. It was about 3 hours away. I could drive there, and then all of my friends and family were able to come. So it is important at that first show, I think, to get as much support as possible because it's your first show. And if you can stay locally, if you can save money on not having to fly and just like be somewhere close to home, that would be the best way to do it. So try to find an area or a show that is in your backyard, that's in your city, that's in a close city. Or if you're like, I don't care, I love traveling, well, then, more power to you. You can definitely travel as well. But I will say it does add more expense. So if expenses aren't something that you care about or whatever, like go ahead and travel, like ball out, do you. But if you have to get flight and hotel, those things start to add up. So just be mindful of whatever budget that you want to have and what experience that you want for your first show. So find a show that is close to you, usually in your area that works. And when we pick a show, we don't necessarily want to set it in stone. We might pick a few shows in a range of time. So let's say, it's January and we want to prep in May or whatever. That's what I did. I looked at shows locally. I kind of like gave a few options to my coach, and then I ultimately just told my coach, just pick wherever, I'll go wherever, I don't care. And he kind of picked it for me. So after that show was there, you do have to register for the show, but you can wait. And I do suggest waiting, especially for your first one, because you don't necessarily know if you are going to get lead enough on time. If you don't care and you're doing the show no matter what happens in the next 6 months, then you can register right away for sure. But I always suggest waiting until you're about 4 weeks out. So it's like a for sure hard yes, because you never know. Life is crazy. Like I've had, tragedies can happen where like weather, family members can pass away, like little weird things like that. You don't want to sign up for a show and then, heaven forbid something happens and then you can't do it. And then you've already spent all of this money on the show. When just wait a little bit. And then once it's confirmed that yes, you're 100%, you're a little bit closer, you're on track to be lean, then you and your coach can be like, all right, it is time for us to sign up for the show. Certain organizations do require a membership fee that you can buy at any time. However, again, I would wait because it's usually a 1 calendar year membership fee if they have them. It just depends on where you decide to compete at. There's all sorts of divisions, federations, and what they're looking for in bodybuilding is completely different. There's natural federations and unnatural federations. So unnatural federations means it's not drug tested, and then natural shows they are drug tested. They are testing you for any PEDs or enhancements. So you can decide if you want to be natural or if you want to go into an unnatural show. As a natural athlete, just know it is going to be harder because you're going to go against people that are potentially enhanced, but you never know. So once we find a coach, then we pick a show, then we start working and training. There are certain things that you need to get, but I do think learning about it and just watching and listening to the jargon of bodybuilding, watching shows live if they have them, looking, like paying attention, like following all the different federations, like following different pro athletes and coaches and other bodybuilders. Just go down a rabbit hole of research. Just search bikini bodybuilding or figure bodybuilding or how to pick a division. Oh, yeah, I forget. If you're going to get interested in bodybuilding, you do have to pick a division. Most of the time, it's pretty obvious what division you're going to pick. I am in bikini. I will forever be in bikini. Wellness athletes have bigger quads. Those are women that were just born with a ton of muscle. Like they did soccer or they just have like a ton of dense muscle. A lot of times it's like shorter athletes that maybe have more petite leg structures, but they're just like thicker legs. They are naturally more muscular than a bikini athlete. So I'm a bikini athlete. I'm more on the like slender, tall, modelly looking side of things. So like that's where I went. Like I want to be balanced top to bottom. And I didn't want to get super big. Like I have a lot of muscle now, but I didn't want to get huge. If you're just like ready to get huge, then you're going to need to spend some time working your way up to get there. There's a you can just go like straight into figure, like a physique or a figure. These athletes like have a lot of muscle and you're going to come and shred it, or they call it like figure fitness, like different federations call it different things, but it's just like a bigger muscle. Like if you like to be shredded, you like to be conditioned, you want to have a huge, like you just want to have big muscles, like huge, like I'm not gonna like big, then you might be just building muscle for 1 to 2 years and then you can jump into a prep, or you could start in like bikini, grow your legs, try wellness, and then maybe you try figure or fitness or whatever it is, like whatever that next steps. But a lot of times you can like start in an entry level division, then you can build and grow and grow and grow as the year goes on. But that way you're able to still get stage experience and compete. And you might do a like lower, um, like division that doesn't have as much muscle requirements and then end up liking it and doing really well. So it just depends on like what is your end goal? What do you want to look like? You have to ask yourself these questions of like, what do I like? What do I want to look like in the future? What is a dream body? So a lot of times finding the pros, the champions, the um Mrs. USA's and Mrs. Bikinis and the pro champions, like figure out who are the top girls. Who do you like their body type the best? And then once you find out, like, okay, she is number one in all of the world out of all of the pros for this type of shows, and you like it, and you're like, I want to look, I just want to do whatever she's doing, then you know that's where you want to go because there's different like different federations are looking for different things. Like, are you wanting to compete with the best of the best of the best of the best? And like, you're literally hardcore gym rat girly, and you're like, okay, like, I don't care about like I don't care about the bling. I don't care about the suits. I don't care about hair makeup. Like I want to go hard. Like I will do it if I have to. I just want to be a bodybuilder through and through. Like there's a different federation for you. But if you're like me and you're like, ooh, I love glam and I love bikinis and I love hair and I love makeup and I love nails and I love gowns and I kind of want to do pageants, but I also want to lift really freaking heavy and I want to be like a cute little gym girl, like there's a federation for you. But you got to figure out, you got to talk to people, you got to slide into DMs and just don't be afraid to ask questions. I'm not even kidding. I probably sent over 50 question messages to random pros of all levels when I first started. I was like, hey, I'm new to bodybuilding. I have a question about how the tan works. Do you have any insight? And people love to help you. Love to help you. Like, I will literally help you with anything and everything, even if you're not my client and you slide in my DMs and you're like, oh my gosh, I have no idea where to start. Like, let me guide you and show you how easy it is. You can also attend a show close to you, which I recommend going to some type of bodybuilding show in person. That way, you know, and like just take notes and just visualize yourself on stage and get to the mindset and just see what type of athletes are competing locally at an amateur show because that's going to look a lot different than most of the pros that a lot of these federations are using for their marketing. So know that yeah, you see all these huge, jacked, amazing pros. Those are the best of the best. That is not what an amateur, first time competitor, 40-year-old bikini athlete looks like. There's a difference between amateur, novice, first time and seeing a pro masters for like there's so many different divisions too. Okay. So how do we know where to go? Right. Well, you just again, you need to probably find a coach. Okay. But research. You can literally just like search bodybuilding shows in my area and just for a certain weekend and just keep searching. Most shows are going to be on Saturdays. A couple international shows are on Sundays, but most any Saturday from I would say like March through December, but mostly like March through October, that's like the season. If anything, like January, February, like no one wants to diet through the holidays, just like don't put yourself through that misery. I've done it. Don't recommend it. I want to diet during the summer months. And that's another thing. Like I have a lot of clients that are teachers that dieting during the school year is like a no-go. So we start dieting in like the summer and she has a break during the summer where she has all summer off. That way she doesn't have to take off any extra time at work. She can also turn it into a vacation with her family. So if you're like a teacher or something like that, then maybe you plan a show strategically during like a winter break or a spring break or a summer. So you don't have to use any vacation, any PTO or anything like that. And like same thing for your work. Like how much time can you get off? Is it convenient for a certain weekend? Like that show time should work for your family. It should work for your kids. It should work for everybody. And you involve, you just like figure out, okay, what is that sweet spot for me? When do I want to be lean? Like, do you want to be shredded in December and you live in Wyoming and it's going to be freezing cold or Alaska or whatever, or Kansas? Yeah, no, I hate being lean in the winter. Hate it, hate it. Love being lean in the summer. Everyone loves being lean in the summer, okay? But it also sucks to have to diet the whole summer because I want to go out, I want to enjoy a little something, a little snack. I want to have some patio time. So what does that look like? Does that mean, okay, if you and your family got a boat and you want to go boating during the summer and you're like, okay, I want to get shredded and I want to be shredded first of the year, May, and then I can reverse diet, have fun, look so good for the rest of the summer. Great. Then you know that. So show window is important. And then if you're trying to get started in bodybuilding, definitely we need to build muscle. We need to have consistent routine. What does this look like with diet? Okay, diet needs to be locked in, locked in. Diet is the hardest part. Bodybuilding is the hardest sport in the world because it is 24/7. You do not get a break. Since I started in, no one told me when I started in 2016 or 2017, whatever year it was. I started in 2016 thinking about it, but officially 2017. Nobody told me that it was going to be a 24/7, 365 job. It was like I was giving myself a part-time job, and it was because I mean, I was training 6 days a week when I first started. It was 6 days a week. It was three upper body, three lower body, and then I was doing 5 to 6 days a week of cardio. And then as you prep, it gets progressively harder. So at the beginning of your prep, you're doing 10, 15 minutes of cardio. Then it gets a little more, a little more, a little more, a little more intense. At the end of it, the last 4 weeks, I was probably doing 90 minutes to 2 hours of cardio, which is a lot. Bikini prep and like, I'm sorry, bikini prep and like bodybuilding, it's not healthy. And I think I thought that there's different ways to do it, but usually to get shredded stage lean, you have to cross over from healthy to extreme. It is an extreme sport. You are being rewarded for a very conditioned, unnaturally lean look. And especially as a female, it is like not supernatural to be shredded and have a six pack and be like 10% body fat. Like that's not normal for most females. It's not great for your hormones to be that lean for long periods of time. And when you're first starting, just know that the girls that you see online and they're posting, their show days and they have their hair and their makeup and their glam and their nails and all their stuff. It is a highlight reel. There's a lot of days where they were probably crying in their car because they did not want to go to the gym or they're so tired. They're like zombies. There's different terminologies that I do want to go over too, because if you're interested in this podcast, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. So there's a lot of vocabulary that you do need to learn as a athlete entering the sport. Okay. So, what did the different terms mean? Lean, hard, shredded, full. These are terms that you and judges and your coach are probably going to use. Lean, that is, I mean, I feel like that's pretty obvious. You're like shredded, you're conditioned, you're toned. Like these are all words that you can use. And then full means like, wow, like if after you have like a really good pump, you look a little fuller. Fuller is it's a kinder word than saying like thick or fat. It's just saying, oh wow, she looks a little full. Like her muscle bellies look super full and poppy. You can just tell that the muscle is just like full of carbs and energy. It doesn't look flat. Like a deflated balloon is what you look like when you're flat. And when you're flat, you don't have carbs. You don't have that like pus, that pop, that like nice, I don't even know how to explain. Like when you have a good pump, that is like, oh, I'm full. Like she's full, she's healthy, she's youthful, she looks good. And like the muscle is fully pressing on the skin, so she looks good. If she looks flat, it's just like it's not as aesthetically pleasing. It's like a deflated balloon. It's like, oh, okay, she kind of looks flat, which also can make you look a little unconditioned as well. Unconditioned just means you're out of shape. Unconditioned, not lean, a little too full means you could have spilled over, or it could just mean you have a little bit too much body fat than they would have liked to see you in. So there's all these little terms that people are going to use that you need to familiarize yourself and what that means. When I first started after my second show, I won my first show, so I didn't get any feedback because obviously I won and I was like up here. I was like on one. And then the second show, I asked for feedback because I didn't place. And I was really upset because I had just won 6 months prior. I did a show in May and then I did a show in December. And the show in December, I went from getting first place that to a thinking that I deserve to get an overall. And that's not what happened. I went from a local show in Wichita, Kansas to competing on the East Coast at a huge, huge, huge show. And I got second, I think, in novice and seventh in open. So I basically didn't even place in open. And I went to the head judge who was male and I was like, hey, I would love some feedback because I heard that's what you do after the show is you get feedback to be better. So I wanted to know why I lost. And he was like, yeah, you're too small everywhere. You need to grow everywhere, more shoulders, more glutes, and you need to come in a lot leaner. And I was like, I went to my room and I was like, he told me I was too fat. I'm too fat. Blah, blah, blah. And I was lean. I was lean and tiny, but I just looked a lot softer than the other girls because they had more muscle to fill out their frame. So now I knew he was being nice and that was his job and that's what he was supposed to do. But I took it a lot harder. So no, like, you have to have thick skin. If you're getting started in bodybuilding, you are literally paying for someone to pick you apart. And that is very hard for a lot of people to understand when you first get started in bodybuilding. If you have any body dysmorphia, insecurities at all, man, it is going to be tough. Like, just know, like, that you can do this sport and you can have a bad time. You put yourself through prep. It is a choice. You can suffer, you can make it suck. You can be like, "Oh my gosh, this is awful. I hate it." Or you can learn from it and know it is going to be a great personal challenge and you're going to get out what you put in. The more effort you put in your prep, the more outcomes that you're going to see. If you're happy throughout prep and you're excited for the challenge and you embrace the suck, it's gonna be okay. Like you're going to make it. You're gonna be fine. It is only temporary. I promise. But just know, like, prep was kind of scary to me because I was like, oh my gosh, I can never give up alcohol. I can never give up desserts and treats. And I like to eat too much. I literally used to say these things, but it's not that hard. It only is hard for 12 to 16 weeks. If you think about prep in the long term, of your life, 12 to 16 weeks is a blip. A blip. You live to like 100. If you only do one show ever and you hate it, you can stop. You don't have to do it. You can do one, decide if you like it, but then you can learn the habits of what it is required. I think everyone should personally go through some type of fitness journey, some type of prep even if you don't want to get on stage. Like, I know you're probably listening to this and you're like, okay, I do want to get on stage because if it's in your heart now, in 5 or 10 years, if it's still going to be on your heart, just do it now. Like, you're the youngest that you're ever going to be, even if you're listening to this and you're 60 and you're 70, like, do it now because in 5 years, there's going to be girls that start now and they're going to be 5 years ahead of you. And you're going to wish that you would have started earlier. I wish I started when I was 18. I started when I was 21 and I was like, oh my gosh, I could have been a pro by the time I was 21 if I started when I was 18. Oh my gosh, I wish I would have started earlier, but I did start very, very young and very early. So I've been bodybuilding from I think age 20 to I'm 29 now. So it's almost been 10 years. That's crazy. It'll literally be, I think, 10 years maybe next year, which is or maybe in 2 years. But that's like a long time for me. And I've done 12 shows in that time span. So if you're thinking about bodybuilding for the first time, plan a couple if you're able to, if financially you can. So if you're able to jump into a few shows, you want to capitalize on that leanness. When I first did it, I did a show in May, I won it, and I was on a royal high. I should have competed the next weekend and then been done. But instead, I want to give myself extra time to build. And then I did a show in December, which basically I just prolonged my diet and I cut into a building season that I could have had. So whenever you're in a prep, you're not as efficiently a building muscle as you can, okay? So when we the term prep is strictly the focus is fat loss only. You're trying to keep what muscle that you've built before. There's the before time, there's all the muscle that you built. Then you start prep and you're still going to the gym, you're still building, you're still training heavy. So, yes, you can kind of grow in prep, but not as much as if you were in an off season, if you were eating and fueling yourself for the right reasons. So, just realize when you are in prep, you are literally cutting, you are in a calorie deficit. you're doing a lot more cardio, and the focus is not, I'm going to build as much muscle as possible. We are just revealing the muscle that you already have underneath. We're dropping the fat, and that's it. I mean, you're really not going to make that big of a difference in muscles during a contest prep. You can do it slow. You can do it slow for sure. You don't need to do 12 to 16 weeks. Slower is better. I like personally 18 weeks is when I start my prep, just so I know that I don't have to worry. They give me plenty of time to get ready, and I slowly increase my cardio and I slowly decrease my calories. So that's one thing that I've done very strategically when I've been in prep, just to make sure that I am doing everything that I can to get the desired result. So when it comes to prep fat loss only, when you are in a building or okay, so here's how it goes. Prep is fat loss. Then we have reverse dieting. So after prep, it doesn't just go away. It's not like we just like go from prep to back to who you were before. No, there's who you were before does not exist. There's only you after bodybuilding. There's before bodybuilding Savannah, and then there's after bodybuilding Savannah. And before bodybuilding Savannah does not exist because once you start a bodybuilding prep, you'll never be able to look at food the same. And it's unfortunate, but it happens. Okay. So first we prep, right? We prep 16, 12, 16 weeks. All right. We cut all the body fat. We slowly increase our cardio. We slowly decrease our food. Then we get on stage. We compete. The next day we start a reverse diet. So we slowly heal our metabolism. We slowly reduce our cardio. We slowly increase our calories to a maintenance point. Then we get to maintenance. Okay. So we're maintaining a healthy amount of body fat. And within, 8, 10, 15, 16 pounds of your stage weight, we get to maintenance and we just chill there for a little while. And then we start bulking. I don't like the word bulking, but then we start building. So once we're at maintenance, then we can kind of go a little bit like at a surplus, a little bit above maintenance, and then we can start really, really building into a full on bulk off season reverse improvement season. Sometimes people call it improvement season. Sometimes people call it off season, whatever you prefer. It's the same thing until you start your next prep. So show number one and show number two. And then there's the time in between. You only have the amount of time in between each show to make those improvements. So once you start prep for show number two, you can't the improvements need to be made. So that's why it's important to take a long amount of off season in between each show to fix your metabolism before you go back into a prep and you hurt your hormones. I started in 2017, but I took full year off of 2018 and then came back in 2019. That was a good choice. What wasn't a good choice was I decided to prep for 2020 as well. I did a show I think in 2019, I did May and September. I kind of screwed off of my diet a little bit. And then I found a new coach. I started dieting in January. So I only had September, October, November, December. I only had 4 months off before I started dieting again in January. So in January, I started dieting, and this was COVID. So this was 2020. And I started dieting, and I wanted to do a show, I think in May, but then COVID postponed it until it was it postponed it until December. And then there was a show that came up, and it was, I think in what was it? September. So I did North American. So I ended up doing my first show in I did my first show September was North Americans, and then I kept dieting all year in 2020 to December. Someone should have stopped me. I should not have been dieting in a contest prep for an entire calendar year. It wasn't healthy. I had horrible acne, like hormonal acne all over. My skin was horrible. My body was giving me all these signals that it was just not okay, like not okay at all. Um, and it was just we do not need to be in a contest prep like this long at all. This is not healthy. really wish someone would have just been like, Savannah, like you need to stop. We need to stop prepping. Like I wish someone would have said something, but I was stubborn and I was like, I'm gonna just keep going. Like I gotta be hard. I gotta keep going. I gotta keep pushing super, super hard and super heavy. And it just was stupid. Like it wasn't smart for me to do that. Like I don't know. Just so don't be dieting for too long because you do need a break. Like you can't diet forever. And I didn't know that. I was like, oh yeah, I can diet forever. Like whatever. Like I can totally, I'll be fine. I will be okay just to diet for a whole year and it won't affect my hormones. Like that's not a thing. It's not going to hurt me. It's not going to affect me at all. But yeah, it did. It definitely did. So plan for, half the year, 6 months is fine. But if we spend 6 months dieting, we got to spend 6 months in a reverse. So what else? When we're thinking about starting bodybuilding, like habits, drinking a gallon of water every single day, we for sure need to drink at least your body weight in ounces of water. We need to train 5 to 6 days a week. Give yourself 1 to 2 rest days. We need to regularly stretch, prioritize recovery, take salt baths after. We need to eat. Oh, yeah, let's get back to nutrition. Let's get back to nutrition because nutrition is so challenging. Um, Man, when it comes to nutrition, I could go on and on forever, but we definitely need to have a high protein diet. You got to eat your body weight in grams of protein. If you're 150 pounds, you got to eat at least 150 grams or more of protein. We need to keep our fats moderately, decent amount of fats, and then we do have a good amount of carbs for energy. We for sure need to start eating before and after our workouts to prioritize that recovery. Protein, like a scoop of protein powder and 25 to 35 grams of carbs pre and post workout, you are in it. There's also supplements that you can start taking, but this is just for every day. Like everyone should take some type of supplements. Like it's not just bodybuilders, like so you can just feel good. So things like fish oil is great. Fish oil, probiotics, vitamin what is it? Digestive enzymes. There is BCAAs. You can take pre-workout, you can take protein powder, you can take creatine, you can take glutamine. There's all these different supplements, but definitely start getting some type of supplements to get your health together. What else? Regular cardio, I would say 3 to 5 days a week of 10 to 15 minutes at least. And then depends on how much weight you have to lose. So if you have a lot of weight to lose, like get that fat off of you and start building muscle. So you might just shred, get the fat off first, and then reverse, start building, and then go into a prep. That's usually what most people need to do. Most people need to start, they need to switch up their diet, switch up their routine, get consistent, start building muscle, drop some fat, grow some muscle, and then go into a prep. Get yourself into a really good spot. A lot of women undereat. A lot of girls come to me and they want to do a show, but they're eating 1,000 calories. I'm like, oh, hold on. I can't cut you down from 1,200 calories. Like, there's no going down from here. I'm not going to give you 500 calories on your plan. That's a no for me. So, like, I need you to get your calories as high as possible. So, ideally, when you start prep, you can have your cardio as low as possible. Cardio is like either none at all or like 3 to 4 sessions of like 10 to 20 minutes, something like that. Just like a little bit of cardio, not super intense, nothing crazy. Cardio super low. We have our calories super high, where we have at least 2,000 plus calories every single day. 2,000, 2,500, 2,100. The more is the better, right? You have your calories in a really good spot. You have your cardio really low, and you're within, I'd say, 15 to 25-ish pounds of a stage weight for what you want to do to be competitive. Then you would start, ideally, when we are in a prep, we're going to aim for about a pound a week. So if you have an idea of like what your stage weight is going to be, however many pounds you need to lose is how long your prep should be. Typically, women it depends on your height. It's so different, but measurements wise, a pro athlete's waist measurement is 22 to 21 inches, and a glute measurement for a pro athlete is about 34 to 36 inches. So do some math on that. Where are you at? Are you close to it? Are you far away from that? For example, it takes about, I think it's a week, it's a quarter inch a week to get that down. So it's like to do a full inch, it takes a month to get that down. So if you have 5 inches on your waistline to get leaner, then you do 5 times 4. That would be a 20-week prep to get your waist where it needs to go, if that makes sense. So figure out how, like, and your coach can do this too, but you can do this if you're prepping yourself. Like, figure out, okay, how close am I to 21 to 22 inches? My waist, I'm 5'8", got down to 23.5 inches at the smallest, but typically I compete about 24, 25 inches. And then my glutes, 37, 30. I think the leanest they were was like 36. And then in the off season, they're like 40 inches. So figure out where you're at with that. And then you can kind of make a game plan for prep. Little things that you're going to need. You need a suit, you need heels, you need makeup, you need jewelry, you need tan, like those things you can always, like, you can figure out that shit after you start prepping. Like, don't worry about getting all the things before you jump into prep. Like, you don't need any of that. You literally just need heels. Definitely the first purchase you should make is heels. If you guys are shopping the Shoe Fairy, I do have a discount code. It is Savannah, SAVANA 10. Savannah 10 will get you 10% off of Shoe Fairy heels. I only recommend the Olympian heels. They're the most comfortable heels. You can wear them out. I literally only wear Shoe Fairy heels out anymore because they're so comfortable. They're so freaking comfortable. They have other type of heels that you can wear for like weddings and like going out too. So if you want to get those, whatever, if you're not like prepping, like that's fine. Like, they have wedding shoes, they have going out shoes. But if you are going to compete, you need some type of Olympian. There's ones without straps. There are ones with straps. It doesn't matter. I would prefer a strap for you for the first time, so you're just locked in there and you're comfortable. That's like the first purchase is get heels. Number one, start breaking those puppies in, do your dishes, clean your house in them. You do want the plastic to be worn to your foot because otherwise it can be really uncomfortable if you wear a fresh pair of heels on stage. Like, you need to break it in. That would be number one. I think number one is literally research. That's free. Just like go through TikToks, like ask people questions, attend seminars. Oh, I forgot about this. So if you can attend a show in person, that would be something to do. And then if you can find a posing seminar or clinic or conference or whatever, like a live event too, that's even better. Go and ask all of your questions and don't be afraid to ask. Like, if you have that question, chances are like 110 other girls have that question. They're just not going to answer it. Just go ask. If you can figure out who the judges are, you can send them pictures before you've even stepped on stage. Did you know that? Did you know that you can send judges pictures of you and ask for feedback before you've stepped on stage? Amazing. You could figure out who the judge is for however you're going. You could send them a front and back picture and say, "Hey, I'm new to bodybuilding. Can you give me some advice? What division do you think I would be in? And what do I do?" They might not say anything, but then they might tell you exactly where they think and what they would do. Like, they could give you feedback and be like, "Oh, you need to grow this and that and that and that." And then you have feedback from a judge before you've even started. It is a possibility. You just have to have the right coach who knows who the judges are. I don't recommend doing that for everyone. Like, don't just be like starting from blank. Like, actually send them a pose that you're like a bikini or a wellness pose or a figure pose or something like that. But they will talk to you. Like, if you go to a seminar, you ask them and you have your pictures on your phone, you're like, "Hey, can I have a moment of time? Can you tell me if where you think I would be?" Like, most go to a show, stay after. The judges at the end of the show will give feedback to athletes. Jump in line with the athletes and be like, "Hey, I'm new to this. Could you give me some feedback?" They just love getting new people interested in the sport too. Talking to other athletes as well. Like, that is where I would start because like they're going to give you honest reviews. Like, if you need help finding a coach, there's like thousands of bodybuilding coaches. There's men coaches, there's women coaches. Who do you want? Do you care? Do you want a men coach? Do you want a woman coach? Figure out what you want. Different people like different approaches. Some people like don't want to talk about your period and your cycle and hormones and stress with a man, or sending them bikini pictures could be weird. It does not matter. I don't care either way. Like I've had a man coach, I've had a woman coach. It didn't matter. I just went with who is the best. I looked at the pro athletes that I liked. I looked at their style. I figured out, and I asked them questions. I was like, "How do you prep?" And I knew everything. My old coach happened to have a podcast where he shared all of his strategies about how he prepped clients. So I listened to everything, and then I already knew I wanted him as a coach. So I didn't have any questions. Apply for different things, try to get them on phones, interview different coaches, look at different clients, see who their last clients were. You can actually ask old clients for recommendations about, hey, would you recommend this team? Why? Like, I'm thinking about this. Like, what do you want on a prep? Like, are you someone that wants a meal plan that just wants to be told what to do? Are you okay with like, do you know how to track macros and like you just want more flexible? Different coaches believe in different philosophies. There's a lot of coaches in the bodybuilding sport that will only do meal plans, and there's a lot of them that will only do macros. You got to figure out who's doing what. I know most of like what teams do what, but some of them are half and half, but some of them are just like hardcore meal plans. Some of them are hardcore macros. I'm a little bit of both. Honestly, I'd prefer you to do a meal plan so I know what foods you're eating if we are prepping, but if you want to do macros, that's completely fine and really up to you. So cardio recommendations. Some people don't believe in a lot of cardio. Some people do. Like there's all sorts of different philosophies. You just got to figure out who do you click with and who do you trust with your health. Like ultimately, your coach is going to have your health in your hands. So you have to one, trust that person a lot. And then just who do you want to work with? Like who are you inspired by? Who's going to get you excited to have to do 2 hours of cardio for? Like you are under their guidance. Like if there's someone that you just love their personality online, they might not be a good coach, okay? Like I'm just saying like everyone's personality of coaching versus who they are online is a little different. I'm very much the same person that I am coaching and online. Like I will give you tough love if you need it. And don't give praise unless it's due. Like I will tell you like good job, but I'm not going to just be like good job over not following your plan. I will get you the results. Sometimes I come off a little hard. But I would say I'm really nice, okay? I would say I'm really nice, but I'm just I don't want to say blunt, but I only see like I guess I am more blunt. I'm more blunt, but I'm not mean about it. Like I empathize with you and I try to find a solution in a positive way. Everything is coming through growth for me. You're never going to get yelled at. I'm not going to be like, "Oh, you suck. You're fatty for eating off plan." I'm never going to do that. I'm literally never. I'm going to kind of coach you through this. I'm going to walk you through like, "Hey, like let's review what happened if you fell off your menu plan or if stress got to you, like why did that happen?" So I do push you intellectually with your mindset as well. Like this whole entire bikini prep thing, or if you're thinking about getting into bodybuilding, you have to have your shit together. Like you have to. If you have a bad relationship with food, if you're a binge eater, if you're under eating, like you really need to dive into this because one, bodybuilding is not going to fix your body dysmorphia. It's not going to fix your eating disorder. It's not going to fix your relationship with food. When you are stressed and prep, there's no vices. It really tests you. Once you go through prep, if you can get through prep, you can literally do anything. And I'm not even kidding because the discipline that you learn for going to the gym when you don't want to, when you're tired, when you're hungry, no matter what happens, you have to go to the gym. That is what prep teaches you. If you are under eating and you are going to lose out on muscle gains if you undereat, if you binge purge or whatever. I'm sorry, this I should have gave a forewarning that I was going to talk about this, but if you like binge purge or whatever, like you overeat and then you either do extra cardio as punishment or you like throw it up or whatever, I don't know. But that is not going to work. Again, you're going to miss out on those nutrients when you're already low calorie. Like you need every ounce of energy. So one, you can't undereat because you need the energy because it's going to be really hard. And you need to have the energy because you're working super hard, because you need to recover, because you need to build muscle, because your digestion needs to be on point. Every single thing, it matters. You can't overeat because that's going to affect how much cardio you do. If you consistently take bites off plan, you're going to have to do more cardio, which is going to be more stressful, which is going to lead to being hungrier, which is going to make you want to eat more. And then if you eat more, it's like this whole cycle of suck. So just stick to your plan. And when I say 100% is 100%, I mean it. Like there's girls that will tell you backstage, "Oh yeah, I didn't follow my meal plan," and they're just genetically blessed and maybe they slacked off on cardio, but I'm telling you that should not be you. If you're going to go through a bikini prep or you're going to get started in bodybuilding at all, like you have to be all in. Like just go all in and give yourself a fair chance. Like imagine if you stuck to your diet 100% for 4 months. You can literally do anything. Like, don't slip. Don't slip. If you're going to start, start, but don't use bodybuilding as all or nothing. I used to only be on my menu plan and be on my cardio and on top of training and train super hard when I was prepping for a show. If I didn't have a next show lined up, I would just like fall off plan. Or if I wouldn't eat on my menu plan, I would fall off. Like when you start this, just know like you're always in prep from here on out. If you want to do this long term, even when you're not technically prepping, you're always in preparation for the next show. So if you're hearing this and you're competitive and you want to go to the world champions and you want to go to the Olympia and you want to be a pro and you want to do all these things, you want to win a pro show, you have to start with that pro mentality from day one. You can't slack. So if you're going to do it, go all in. If you need my help, let me know. Those are just a few things of like how to get started on bodybuilding. I think a seminar, attending a show, research, asking other athletes, finding a coach, and then building muscle, eating a lot of protein, getting a lot of carbs in, drink enough water, taking some supplements to help with overall digestion. Um, and I guess just working on confidence, stepping outside your comfort zone with posing. Posing, I haven't even gotten started with posing. Posing is the hardest thing to learn. And a lot of people underestimate how long it takes to learn to get fluid on stage, to get confident on stage. So just start putting yourself out of your comfort zone, attend those clinics, attend those things, like look on YouTube videos, just like watch TikTok videos, like wherever you can find information, just like, consume all of it, all of it, all of it, all of it. And I am here to help. So we're going to stop this episode here. Don't forget to like, make sure you subscribe, send this to a friend who needs to hear it. Also, if you wouldn't mind tagging me this on your Instagram story or your TikTok story or whatever, that really helps me. If you could drop a 5-star review if you liked it on whatever app that you listen to, that would even help grow the show so we can get more athletes on and spread the word about bodybuilding. This is going to be a really fun year. Again, I want this to be a podcast that we can all collaborate on. So I want to talk about relevant topics that you guys want to hear. So please DM me what questions that you have. What do you want to see this upcoming season? I'm going to be putting all of my solo Sav episodes on YouTube, which I'm really excited about too. And then I'm going to clip it up for you guys for I think Instagram and TikTok, but I'm just on my content journey. So stick around and don't forget that this podcast is brought to you by Angel Competition Bikinis. Don't forget to use code SAVANAS at checkout for 15% off your bikini competition suit or your posing suit. I do work for them as well. If you're wanting to design your suit with me, please DM me and we can get that scheduled. I'm also sponsored by the Shoe Fairy. Don't forget to use code Savannah10 at checkout for your competition heels. If you guys are interested, please head over to either Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Everything is Savannah Sharp or at Savannah Sharp. You can follow me there. Oh man, I'm out of breath. I haven't podcasted in a long time and I'm so thirsty. I need to take a drink of water and I need to go eat something. This podcast is brought to you by I don't know, discipline. So I'm really excited. Don't forget to diet smart. What is it? Diet smart, train hard, and stay sharp. I will see you guys next week. I love you so much. Thanks for watching. Bye.